All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. It is 11 a.m. this morning here on December 22nd of 2024, and today is your first appearance. If you are having trouble hearing me, ladies and gentlemen, as we go through this morning, please let me know, as there are a few things that I'm going to discuss with you all both during as well as, before as well as during the calendar. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is your first appearance calendar. And we are here because there are a few things that I need to go over with you during the course of today's calendar. Let me first say, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here to try your case, to take a plea, or to have any legal discussions with you about the specific facts of your case. The purpose of today's hearing is to inform you of what the law enforcement officers have charged you with, to advise you of certain rights, to set bond on those offenses for which the court is authorized to set bond, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. Now, as we go through today, ladies and gentlemen, you have the right to remain silent. So again, please do not attempt to tell me specifics about your case or any legal defense that you believe you may have. As I may have mentioned earlier, and if not, let me tell you that this is being recorded. We are streaming live here this morning, so anything you say during this proceeding can be used against you, and you make not only myself, but the other people online, as well as there with you, witnesses. Now, in addition to your right to remain silent, you do have the right to a presumption of innocence, the right to an indictment by grand jury for felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf. You have the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense. You have the right to have an attorney represent you. And if you cannot afford one, I can determine whether or not you qualify for one this morning. And then lastly, if you are not a citizen, some of these charges may adversely affect your immigration status. And so if you, in fact, are not a citizen, you will need to consult an attorney. Now, as I mentioned, in addition to advising each of you what you've been charged with this morning, we're also going to talk about bond. Bond is a specific amount of money that is paid to the sheriff's office that will allow you to be released until your case is closed. Doesn't mean your case is closed, but it's just to allow you to be out so you don't remain in custody. There are three ways to make bond. One would be by cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, that means someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash together with any mandated fees to the sheriff's office, who will hold it until your final court date, at which time your cash will be returned to you. If you cannot afford the full amount in cash, you could also use what is called a commercial bonding company, who then will take up to 15% of that bond for their service. However, the difference between a cash bond and a commercial bond is that bond money is not returned to you. The bonding company gets to keep it. Then lastly, there is what is called a property bond. And that's where if you or someone you know has 3 times the worth of equity in their home as your bond, then they can bring that down to the sheriff's office, the deed to their property, and the sheriff will hold it until such time as your case is closed. So the example I like to use is if I tell you you are charged with aggravated assault, and I tell you your bond is $6,000, then you would bring up to the sheriff's office, if you're going to do it in cash, $6,000 or someone you know, plus any fees. If you use a bonding company, you would only be responsible for anywhere from about $750. And then again, that goes to the bonding company, and then they would keep it. Now, in addition to your bond, we're also going to talk this morning about what are called special conditions that prohibit you from having contact with certain people or going to certain places. If I tell you you have a no contact provision on your bond, this means you are to stay away and to have no contact with the alleged victim. You may not call, text, email, write a letter to, or contact through any social media platform. You can't even do something as nice as send this person an email or write them a simple song, as that would be a violation of this bond. If I order you not to return to a particular location, that means you cannot go back to that location. If I tell you that to not return somewhere, and that is a place that you were living with the alleged victim, please let me know. In most circumstances, I've already marked that, and I will tell you that you cannot go back there unless you are accompanied by the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release on bond. Now, for those of you who unfortunately do decide to violate these bond conditions, I just need to advise you that you are subjecting yourself to new felony charges, such as aggravated stalking or influencing a witness, and up to 20 years in prison and or $20,000 in fines. Let me also say, ladies and gentlemen, that those of you if I am alleging that you've assaulted a particular family member or friend, and you want to have that person to bring your bond money up to the sheriff's office, you cannot, as that will be a violation of the law. Also, if there are people who here are currently on active probation, I am not authorized to set bond at this time. Whether a bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. Now, before we start, ladies and gentlemen, the one last thing I need to mention to you all is a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a hearing where you, the defendant, the law enforcement officer who arrested you, as well as a judge, are present to go over your case. It's not your trial, but it's where you all go over to see if there's enough evidence for the case to proceed up to a prosecutor to formally charge you. If the judge determines that there is enough evidence, your case will move forward to the next stage. If they do not, your case can be dismissed. It doesn't mean it can't come back. It just means it'll be dismissed for that time being. If you are charged with a felony, ladies and gentlemen, you automatically, if you don't make bond, get that preliminary hearing. If you are charged with a misdemeanor and you come before me, I will ask you, ladies and gentlemen, do you want me to schedule your preliminary hearing? You can either tell me yes, in which case I will schedule it, or you can tell me no, in which case I won't. If you tell me you don't want that hearing, it does make your case move a little faster, and it'll go straight to the prosecutor, who then will review it and determine if there is enough evidence and what those charges will be against you. Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have everyone please raise your right hand. Do you all swear or affirm that the information that you are going to provide, as well as that which you provided in your appointed counsel information, will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you guide? And if so, I need for each and every one of you to say, I do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have you lower your hand. Deputy, can you confirm? I think I saw one person that may need a translation. Is that correct, or do we not need it at all?
No, sir. We don't need no Spanish speaking.
All right, Ms. Toles, you are good to go.
All right, have a great day.
All right, you too, ma'am. All right, so we will start. Deputy, let me log on here to jot with the female. All right. So with women, I've got Aina, Crowder, and Hervy first. It would be Aina, Crowder, and then Hervy. And after that, Reed and Wright.
Yeah, Reed and Wright. Reed and Wright last. So Aina.
Yep.
Good
Good morning. Are you Miss Aina?
Yes, sir.
Miss Nashante Aina, you are charged with one count of criminal trespass. That is a misdemeanor, ma'am. You have a right to that preliminary hearing that I mentioned earlier, or you can waive that right. Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing, ma'am?
Waive it.
Okay, so I am going to show that you are asking that we waive that hearing here this morning. And so what that means is, ma'am, is there's going to be a sheet of paper here that the deputies are going to have you sign, Ms. Aina, and when you sign that, that'll show that you are waiving your hearing. Let me ask you this morning, did you fill out a piece of paper called a court-appointed sheet for me, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm so confused.
I don't see it right now. Ms. Aina, are you working right now?
Self-employed, but not really.
You said oh, I see it here. You said self-employed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the reason I asked that, ma'am, is I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. Now, as far as your charges, again, you are charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount for that, ma'am, is $3,000. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and they are to have no contact with Cedric Shavers and to also stay away from the address of 4260 Mason Creek Road. Again, that's 4260 Mason Creek Road. Now, as I said earlier, ma'am, if that's somewhere that you were living previous to this incident allegedly happening, you cannot go back to that incident location unless and until you make bond, and you are with someone from the deputy sheriff's office. Do you understand that, ma'am? Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions about anything?
We do have kids together. and,
Okay.
Yeah,
And so what
We
is your
have
question to
babies.
me as far as what happens with the kids?
yeah, do they stay there? Cause that's.
I mean, they're allowed to stay there. Yes, ma'am. So, I mean, you two are just not allowed to have contact. So, I mean, what I can tell you is if for some reason you all need to have contact, I've given you a lawyer free of charge. So you can talk to that lawyer who maybe assist you in getting the bond modified so that you all can have contact. As of right now, as of today, you're not allowed to have contact until that's either your case is dismissed, you plead guilty, or it's modified. Do you understand that? All right, ma'am. Well, if that's the only questions you have, ma'am, good luck to you, Mr. Keena. All right, next up should be Michaela Crowder. Are you Miss Crowder?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Crowder, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence. That is a misdemeanor, ma'am. As I mentioned earlier, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that hearing. Which would you like to do? Have it or waive it, ma'am?
Can I please waive it?
All right, so I am going to show that you are waiving your right to that preliminary hearing, ma'am. That means this morning, after you and I are done speaking, the deputy's office, sheriff's office will have a piece of paper that you'll have to sign for them. As it relates to your bond, ma'am, the 1 count of simple battery carries a bond amount of $2,000. You do have special conditions, and those are to stay away from Akia Johnson, as well as the address of 3065 Cotton Indian Circle. Again, that's 3065 Cotton Indian Circle. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes. May I ask you a question? I'm sorry.
Just let me get to this and then I'll answer any questions you have. I've reviewed the work that you provided, ma'am. I am going to have to deny your request for a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. So you will have to get your own lawyer if you desire for your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I believe you had a question, ma'am.
Yes, sir. The 3065 Cotton Indian Circle, that's my mother's house.
Okay.
And Akia Johnson doesn't stay there.
Okay.
I was visiting.
So the information I have is that, so were you were visiting there together?
I just drove up from Texas for Christmas yesterday.
Okay. So both you and the alleged victim here live in Texas, or you just live in Texas yourself?
I just live in Texas. I'm not sure where she resides.
Okay. So let me say this, Ms. Crowder. So since I don't have information about all of that right now, all I have is just that was the address. What I will tell you is I don't know that I feel comfortable doing that without more information. But as I told the person before you, I did go ahead. Well, I didn't appoint you a lawyer, but you will have a lawyer that will be able to assist you on your case. And what I will tell you is at that point, I would probably let them know that, hey, that, she doesn't live there. I need to have, contact with folks at that address, so that they can try to get this modified. But as of today, ma'am, given that that's where the incident happened, I'm going to have to ask that you not return there. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes,
All
sir.
right, ma'am. All right, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, next up should be Hervy, and then Reed and Wright. Morning, are you Miss Hervy?
Yes, sir.
Miss Hervy, you are charged with 1 count of misdemeanor criminal trespass, ma'am. Because that is a misdemeanor, you have a right to that preliminary hearing that I spoke of earlier, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. Which would you like to do? Have it or waive it, ma'am? Miss Hervy?
I don't know what to do. Waive it.
Oh, okay. Well, so let me just make sure you understand. So preliminary hearing is where you're present, the police, as well as the judge, and they determine if there's enough evidence to move forward to the next stage. They may dismiss it, they may not. Or you can tell me, Judge, I do want to have that hearing. I'm not sure I'm going to make my bond, and I'll set that date for you 30 days out. If you say, Judge, I'd rather my case move a little faster, and I don't want that hearing, then you can do as you said, waive it, and then I'll go ahead and I'll send it up to the prosecutor for them to review it and to begin to prosecute you. So knowing that, would you like to have that hearing date set or waive it, ma'am?
Waive it.
All right, so I am going to show that you have asked that we waive your preliminary hearing. So with that, ma'am, after we are done, the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign. Now, as it relates to your bond, again, this is a misdemeanor criminal trespass. And so your bond amount for that, ma'am, is $2,500. You do have special conditions, and they are to stay away from Philip Morton, as well as from the address of 3034 Deerfield. Again, that's 3034 Deerfield. As I mentioned earlier, ma'am, if that's somewhere you were living, please make sure that you speak with the sheriff's office if you're able to bond out, and they can assist you on getting any items there that belong to you. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, should be Miss Reed and Wright. And then I think we have one off Jots, which was Towles, Towles, female. All right, are you Miss Reed?
Yes, I am.
All right, so Miss Reed, you are charged with one count of criminal trespass, misdemeanor. Because it is a misdemeanor, ma'am, you do have a right to that preliminary hearing I've been speaking of, or you can waive it. Which would you like to do, ma'am? Have it or waive it?
I'd like to waive it.
All right, so I am showing that you are waiving it. That means when we are done here this morning, the sheriff's office will have a piece of paper for you to sign. Now, as it relates to your bond, ma'am, as I said, this is a misdemeanor, so your bond is $2,500. You do have special conditions, and they are to stay away from the alleged victim, Paige Hubbard, as well as the address of 6363 Forest Haven Drive. Again, that's 6363 Forest Haven Drive. Now, based on the information you provided this morning, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and also appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. But you will have a lawyer free of charge to assist you, okay? All right, ma'am?
All right.
All right, any questions I can answer for you, ma'am?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You will stay away from yourself. Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
in reference to Paige, you said to stay away from Paige herself or stay away from the victim?
I think I said, oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Let me correct that. I'm sorry, it should be Samuel Cunningham. My apologies. Thank you, Deputy.
The sheriff's office and you can go back.
It should be Samuel Cunningham. Did you hear that, Deputy?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. And I believe you're Miss Wright, is that correct?
Not believe I am. How you doing this morning, Your Honor?
I'm doing well. You said you are Miss Wright, is that correct?
Yes, I'm Miss Wright.
Okay. I'm doing well, ma'am. Miss Wright, you are charged with one count of driving with a suspended license and one count of felony theft by taking. Because you are charged with a felony, ma'am, you do automatically get that preliminary hearing if you are unable to make your bond. Do you understand that?
My license are not suspended.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Remember, I can't talk to you about that stuff. I
Okay.
can't go into detail about that. All I can tell you is what the police have charged you with this morning, okay?
Yes.
So I'm just telling you right now, you're charged with one count of theft by taking and one count of driving with a suspended license. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. We hear you out there.
Okay. So now, because you are charged with a felony, ma'am, your next court date, if you do not make your bond, is going to be January 22nd of 2025. Again, that's
Yeah,
going to be.
They got a lot of injection and errors.
I know, I understand. But as far as your next court date, ma'am, again, it's going to be January 22nd of 2025. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Oh, gotcha.
Okay. Now, as to your bond, ma'am, your suspended license carries a bond amount of $1,500. Your theft by taking charge, ma'am, carries a bond amount of. Actually, I had to no bond you today. Looking at this, I had to put on a no bond because I'm showing here that you are currently on probation. And so your next court date, ma'am, for the bond hearing is going to be January 24th of 2025. So you got two new court dates coming up. Your preliminary hearing on the 22nd of the new year, and then you've got a new court date on the 24th of the new year, okay?
Okay, so we get a chance to get out today.
No, no, ma'am. You will not have that opportunity today because you're gonna be on a no bond. So I
What
can't
about
just-
the clear package there that we got there on, sitting on C4 on page 12?
I think we're talking about two different things, Miss Wright.
Yes, I had to get you all the way back to the, on Justice Board, on the district attorney.
Okay. So Miss Wright, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let you go here, but I need you to know you got 2 court dates at the next part of the year, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, ma'am. Good luck to you.
You too.
All right.
Leave your finger inside.
And then I believe the only female off jots is Miss Toll, is the last name.
Good
morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. And I hear, is it Keandrea To, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All
Yeah.
right, so you are charged with 1 count of simple battery, 1 count of battery, 1 count of disorderly conduct. Those are all misdemeanors. So because those are all misdemeanors, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that right, preliminary hearing that I was speaking of earlier. Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I would like to waive it, sir.
All right, give me 1 second here. So now, because we are going to waive that preliminary hearing, that means after you and I are done, the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, as it relates to your bond, on the simple battery, your bond amount is 2,500. On the battery, your bond amount is 3,500. On the disorderly conduct, your bond amount is 1,500. So you have a total bond of 7,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You do have special conditions as well, and they are to stay away from Myosha Zachary and Amanda Morris, and to also stay away from the address where this allegedly happened, which is 6690 Highway 85. Again, that's 6690 Highway 85. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions of me?
I actually do not.
Well, so you were kind of hesitating. You sure this is the time to ask any questions about anything?
Oh, no, the only thing I was gonna ask was like, if I did do a bail bondsman, is it a certain percent that?
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier. So it's 15%. And so on yours, because it's 7,500, you would be looking at about $900 that you would have to come out of pocket for.
Oh, that's absolutely fine.
And then you understand, I think, as I was saying earlier, that amount that you come up with, that remains with the bonding company. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. So, I'm not from here, so is there a bail bondsman that's open on Sundays, or would I have to wait until tomorrow?
They all.
Okay.
Yeah. There's actually one right across the street from the sheriff's office,
All right.
or from the jail, rather. All right. Any other questions I can answer for you?
Oh, sir.
All right. Good luck to you.
All right. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
All right. So then, starting with the men, I've got Boyd, Granderson, and Harrison up first.
Yep, they coming up. Boy,
And then,
They didn't give me a phone to make phone calls.
all right. Are you Mr. Boyd?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, Mr. Boyd, you are charged here with 1 count of battery, family violence, and 1 count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Those are both misdemeanors, sir. And because they are misdemeanors, that means you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive your right to that preliminary hearing. Which would you like to do, sir? Would you like to have it or waive it?
Have it, sir.
All right, sir. So I'm going to go ahead and set that preliminary hearing date for you. And so this is if you don't make your bond. If you don't make your bond and you're still in custody, your next court date will be January 21st at 8:30 a.m. Again, that'll be January 21st at 8:30 a.m. Now, as to your bond, sir, your bond amount as to the battery family violence is $3,500. Your bond amount as to the cruelty to children in the 3rd degree is also $3,500 for a total bond of $7,000. You do have special conditions, sir. Those conditions are to stay away from a Miss April Wiley, as well as the address of 9291 T Terrace, or T Trace, excuse me. So again, if that's somewhere you were living prior to this happening, please make sure that you do not return there unless it's within 10 days of your release, and you are accompanied by the sheriff's office, okay?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you, sir. All right, next up should be Granderson and Harrison.
You go to the right here to this.
All right, are you Mr. Granderson?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Granderson, you are charged here with several counts. The first being possession with marijuana with the intent, possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana, possession of a Schedule II drug with intent, possession of a Schedule I drug, possession of a second Schedule I, possession of a second Schedule II. So 2 Schedule I drugs, 2 Schedule II, possession of less than 1 ounce, possession with intent, and possession of a Schedule I drug as well. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So you've got a couple offenses we're going to go through. They're both on the same day, but they are charged separately. So they both happened on December 21st, which would have been yesterday. So, but I'm going to go through all the bonds with you. Because this is a felony, first, sir, if you don't make your bond, your preliminary hearing, which will be your next court date, is going to be January 22nd of 2025. Again, that's going to be January 22nd of 2025. Now let's go through the bond. The possession of marijuana with intent, sir, I have dismissed that charge. Possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana is $1,000. Possession of a Schedule II drug with intent to distribute, I have dismissed that charge. Possession of a Schedule I is $5,000. Possession of a second Schedule I is $5,000, and possession of a Schedule II is $5,000. So your total bond, sir, is going to be $16,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, as it relates to an attorney, I see here that you are currently not working. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So because of that, sir, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney. So you will have an attorney free of charge that will be able to assist you on your case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions about anything of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Then I have, we're good to go, and good luck to you.
All right, have a good one.
You too. After Mr. Harrison should be Morton, Murchison, and Vivas. Morton, Murchison, and Vivas.
I'm Mr. Harrison.
Yep, I was saying after you, sir.
Sir.
All right, so Mr. Harrison, you are charged with 1 count of aggravated battery, sir. That is a felony. And so that is, if you don't make your bond, sir, your next court date will be January 22nd of 2025, Mr. Harrison. Again, that'll be January 22nd of 2025. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, as it relates to your bond, sir, your bond amount is going to be $30,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you do have special conditions also, Mr. Harrison, and those are to stay away from the alleged victim of Mr. Dominique Harrison, and also the address of 7735 Terra Boulevard, and I believe it was lot 6.
D6.
I'm sorry?
Lot D6.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, sir.
And I believe, if I understand, that was where you were residing before this happened, sir. And so if you are able to make your bond, please understand that you cannot return to that address unless you are accompanied by a sheriff's deputy within 10 days of your release. Do you understand, Mr. Harrison?
Yes, sir, but can I ask you a question?
Yes,
So,
sir.
I'm on probation for that address, so like, what do I tell my PO?
Okay, sir. So you're telling me information you don't want to tell me. So I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yes, sir.
You need to speak with that about your lawyer. I don't have information you're on probation. That's gonna make a difference on your case. You don't want to talk to me about that right now. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna stop this conversation right now, and you're gonna move on, okay?
Yes, sir. You have
All right. Please speak to your attorney, Mr. Harrison, on that.
Morton, right there.
I'm Morton. You go up with it.
All right. Next up should be Morton and Murchison and Bebop. Are you Mr. Morton?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morton, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence, 1 count of criminal trespass family violence, sir. Mr. Morton, those are both misdemeanors. Because they are misdemeanors, that means you have a right to a preliminary hearing that we talked about earlier, or you can waive that right to that preliminary hearing. Would you like to have it or waive it, sir?
You're gonna do it today?
No, sir. Your preliminary hearing will be in 30 days from now if you don't make your bond.
I'm gonna make my bond.
Say that again?
I said, I'm sure I'm gonna make the bond.
You said you are sure you're gonna make it?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, if you think you're gonna make your bond, then,
What's number 6, please?
you know, then you can choose to waive it if you want, or we can set, like I said, we can set the hearing date, and then if you don't make the bond,
Okay.
you'll have it in place. It's really up to you.
Okay.
Which would you prefer then, Mr. Morton? Would you like to set the bond, set the preliminary hearing or waive it?
Let's set it.
Okay. So, Mr. Morton, I don't have here that you filled out any paperwork for me this morning.
I do have paperwork.
No. So there's some paperwork about court-appointed lawyer. Everyone should have gotten this morning. Did you fill out anything this morning?
Not nothing like that, no.
All right, Deputy, at some point before he leaves, can you make sure he fills out a piece of paper and you all send that over with the waivers?
He filled it out. He just came in late after we
Oh,
already.
okay. If you could just send it at a later time, that'd be great.
Will do.
So we're gonna waive your preliminary hearing first, Mr. Morton. So they'll go ahead, they're gonna have the paper for you to sign. They're gonna have two pieces of paper. One, you're gonna sign waiving your hearing. Two, you're gonna give me some information about you. Are you working right now, Mr. Morton?
Hang on.
Are you working?
Yes, sir.
And how much are you making per month?
Roughly 25.
Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay. So let's couple things then. As I said, they're gonna have two pieces of paper for you to fill out and sign. Because you're charged with misdemeanors, we're gonna waive your preliminary hearing. Your bond amount is $3,500 for the simple battery and $5,000 for the trespass, for a total of $8,500. You will have to stay away from the alleged victim, Lakeisha Hervy, as well as from 3034 Deerfield Way. Do you understand that?
Well, that is my house. That's not her house.
I understand that, sir, but until such time, well, you know what? Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna take that off, sir. So you don't have to stay away from that address, but you do have to stay away from Miss Hervy. Do you understand that?
That's fine. Thank you.
If and when you make bond, she's not allowed back there, but you are. You cannot have any contact with her. Do you understand that?
You said she's not allowed back there.
She's not allowed back there. I told Miss Hervy she cannot return already. It
Okay.
looks like both of you all were arrested. Is that right?
Correct.
Yep. So Miss Hervy's not allowed back there. You are, but you cannot have any contact with her. Do you understand? No email, no write, no text, no call, no nothing. If she wants to come over, you tell her no, and you call the police. Do you understand that?
Okay, I understand.
I said your bond's $8,500. Your preliminary hearing date we waived. Lastly, sir, based on the information you gave me, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All right, sir. Then that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
So that's just 10% I gotta pay on that 85.
It'll be roughly between 10 to 15%. So you'd be about $1,000.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Should be Murchison, and I guess Vivas is out to bond.
Sign here, and sign here next.
How you doing, sir?
After Vivas should be Walker and Walton. All right. And I believe, is it Mr. Murchison?
Yes, sir.
Use your finger to sign here.
All right, so Mr. Murchison, you are charged with two misdemeanors, one count of loitering and prowling. The other is giving false information to law enforcement officer. Because those are both misdemeanors, sir, you have a right to that preliminary hearing that I mentioned, or you can waive that right. Which would you like to do, sir? Have it or waive it?
I like to have it.
All right, sir. So if you do not make your bond here, sir, then your next court date is going to be January 21st at 8:30 a.m. 2025 via Zoom, just like we are today. Again, that's going to be January 21st, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, as to your bond, Mr. Murchison, the law enforcement giving false name, that carries a bond amount of $2,500. The loitering or prowling carries a bond amount of $500 for a total of $3,000. You do have a special condition, sir, and that is to stay away from 3688 Mitchell's Valley Court, where this was alleged to have happened, okay?
Excuse me, sir, they gave me a bond already for $200.
I can't tell you what they've already given you, sir. I can tell you what your current bond is. Your bond is $3,000.
He in 6.
Right. When I spoke with him yesterday, he said that it was $200, and he said the reason why I stay in the neighborhood, sir. And
No, sir, that's incorrect. That is not your bond.
What?
Okay, good luck to you, sir.
Morton.
All right, if I could have a Walker, Walton, and Washington. Walker, Walton, and Washington. All right.
Man,
All right, give me 1 second. Sir.
Sir.
And are you Mr. Walker?
Walton.
Walton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Walton. Mr. Walton, you are charged with 1 count of misdemeanor criminal trespass. Again, sir, that is a misdemeanor. So you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that right. Which would you like to do, sir? Have the hearing or waive it?
I would have it. And a question, about the.
Hold on. Let me get through this first.
Yes,
So
sir.
your next court date, sir, should you not make your bond, is going to be January 21st at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that's going to be January 21st. That's going to be 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom for your preliminary hearing. Your
Yes, sir.
bond amount, sir, on this criminal trespass is going to be $2,500. Excuse me, $2,000. You do have special conditions, and they are to stay away from 314 Sandalwood Drive. Again, your bond is $2,000. You have special conditions to stay away from 314 Sandalwood Drive. Lastly, I've reviewed the information you provided to me, and I have gone ahead and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer as well. Now, I know you wanted to say something. Again, we can't discuss the facts of your case, but how can I help you?
I was gonna say about the, you said I couldn't come to the house.
Correct.
I was wonder why, because I pay all the bills
So
there.
remember, hold on. We cannot get into specifics.
Yes, sir.
So don't tell me reasons why, but based on the allegations that I have for me, sir, I cannot allow you to return to that house today. If it turns out that, it appears that this person may have been living there when this incident happened, don't comment on it. Don't say anything. If that is incorrect, or if I have some misinformation, you want to discuss that with the person that will become your lawyer,
Yes, sir.
so that they can correct that for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
And they will get this modified so that you don't have to stay away from that address. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Read.
Anything else I can answer for you other than that question?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right, sir. Good luck to you, Mr. Walton.
That one around.
All right, and I think that should leave us with Mr. Washington. All right, give me 1 second here.
White, young.
I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
You got White coming up. Washington and Walker. Washington is out on bond, and Walker is in the hospital.
Yeah, I saw Walker's out to bond. You said Washington is what's going on with Washington?
No, is in the hospital, and Washington is out on bond.
Washington's out on bond. Okay, I see that. All right.
And Walker in the hospital. Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second. Let me add this in here then. So Washington is out to bond. Okay. That should be everybody on JOTS. And who do you have up next? Deputy, excuse me, sir, what's your name there?
White.
Give me 1 second, Mr. White. All right. So this should be the last one on JOTS. Mr. White, you were charged with 1 count of possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. That is a misdemeanor, sir. Now, I have reviewed the information that you provided to us this morning, so I am going to go ahead and release you pending the prosecution of your case. Let me be clear, sir, that does not mean that your case is closed. That just means you won't have to remain in custody until such time as the case is prosecuted. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Now, you do have a special condition, Mr. White. You're going to have to stay away from 808 Summer Wind Drive. Do you understand that? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Then the deputies will have a waiver for you to sign, and once you sign that waiver, you'll be good to go, and they're gonna release you in a couple hours. Good luck to you, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so going off Jots, I believe I got up first, Mr. Keith Allison, and then after Mr. Allison, I believe next should be Doye, D-O-Y-E, and then Hall. Allison, Doye, and Hall.
Person?
All right, are you Mr. Allison?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Allison, you were charged here with 1 count of smash and grab burglary as a felony and 1 count of theft by taking, sir. Because you were charged with a felony, that means if you don't make the bond that I'm going to give you here today, you're going to get automatically a preliminary hearing date. Are you currently working, Mr. Allison?
Not as of now. I've been incarcerated 3 months.
Okay, so I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here, which is why I was asking you that question. You've got 2 court dates here I'm going to give you. The first is going to be your preliminary hearing, as I said, because you were charged with a felony. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Again, that's going to be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Now, as it relates to your bond, the theft by taking, sir, is a bond amount of $2,000. As to the smash and grab burglary, sir, I am going to go ahead and put you on a no bond status this morning. So as of this morning, as it relates to that charge, you do not have a bond. Do you understand that?
But what is the reason for no bond, sir?
Because I reviewed the circumstances of this case, sir, and have made a decision not to grant you bond. If and when you are given bond, Mr. Allison, your next court date, as I said, is going to, your next court date is going to be the 22nd. Your bond hearing is going to be the 24th. You do have a special condition if you're given bond at some point, and that's going to be to stay away from Fang Sha, where this was alleged to have happened. And that address is 5312 Jonesboro Road. Again, that's 5312 Jonesboro Road. Good luck to you, Mr. Allison. Next up should be Doye, and then after that is Hall. Are you Mr. Doye?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Doye, you were charged here by the law enforcement officers with 2 counts. The first is felony count, possession of drugs, methamphetamine to be exact, and possession of a drug-related object. That is a misdemeanor. Because you are charged with a felony, sir, if you don't make the bond that I'm going to give you here, your next court date, your preliminary hearing, will be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that'll be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, as it relates to your bond, sir, the drug-related objects carries a bond amount of $3,500.
What, sir?
$3,500. And the possession of methamphetamine also carries a bond amount of $3,500. And so your bond amount, sir, is going to be $7,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Doye, do you have any questions for me?
As to this preliminary hearing thing,
Yes, sir.
how's it gonna work?
So you'll be there, police will be there, and the judge will be there, and they'll review the evidence and determine if there's enough evidence for your case to move to the prosecutor. If there is not enough evidence, your case can be dismissed. If there is enough evidence, that means you will be formally indicted by the prosecutor, the DA, and then your case and your lawyer will move forward with the felony charges against you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Doye.
Thank you.
After Mr. Hall should be Lee, Mitchell, and Otterbridge. Again, that should be Lee, Mitchell, and Otterbridge. All right, are you Mr. Hall?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Hall, you were charged with two counts of criminal damage in the second degree as a felony and one count of battery, misdemeanor, family violence. Because you were charged with a felony, sir, I'm going to give you a preliminary hearing date if you don't make the bond that I'm going to give you today. Your next court date, your preliminary hearing, should you not make your bond, is going to be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Again, that's going to be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. Now, as it relates to your bond, sir, your bond amount for the two criminal damages is $3,500 apiece. For the battery, family violence, $3,500. So you have a total bond of $10,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and they are to stay away from a Sean Farward and from the address of 2590 Terrace Parkway. Again, that's 2590 Terrace Parkway. Now, based on the information you provided, lastly, Mr. Hall, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to grant you a court-appointed lawyer, sir. So you will have a lawyer to assist you on your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Any question for me, sir?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Next up should be Mr. Lee. All right. Are you Mr. Robert Lee? Mr. Lee? Oh, can you hear me, Mr. Lee?
Yes, I can hear you on.
Okay. Mr. Lee, you are charged with one count of possession of drugs by an inmate while in custody. Your bond on this, sir, is $10,000. This is a felony. And so your next court date, sir, is going to be January 22nd at 8:38. I'm sorry?
I'm not understanding what you just said.
You are charged with possession of an illegal object by an inmate.
A possession object.
Possession of an illegal object.
I'm not understanding what you.
Possession of an object.
So your warrant says, sir, that you were found to be in possession of a sharp metal object.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So again, because this is a felony, sir, your next court date is going to be January 22nd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom for your preliminary hearing, okay?
All right.
I have gone ahead. I'm appointing you a court-appointed lawyer to help you out on your case. So you will get a lawyer free of charge, and your bond amount, as I said, is $10,000. Any questions for me, sir?
No.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Lee.
Go back and say not. Yeah, you do that.
Mitchell, Otterbridge, Stenson, and Traml. Mitchell, Otterbridge, Stenson, and Traml. All right, are you Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir. I'm Larry Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell, you're charged with one count of theft of services. Your bond amount is $7,500, sir. Now, this is a felony, sir. Because you were charged with a felony, I need you to understand that means your next court date, if you don't make the bond of $7,500, is going to be January 22nd of 2025, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's January 22nd of 2025, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that, Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir.
Now, you do have a special condition, sir. The special condition on your case is going to be not to allegedly return to where this occurred. That address of 5001 Dixie Road. Again, that's 5001 Dixie Road, and that is called New Image Towing. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions I can answer for you, Mr. Mitchell?
Say it again. No.
Good luck to you, sir.
Yeah.
Should be Otterbridge, Stenson, Traml, and last up, Tucker. All right. Are you Mr. Otterbridge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Otterbridge, you are charged with one count of possession of an illegal object by an inmate. Your bond amount, sir, is $10,000. That is a felony. That means your next court date, if you don't make your bond, is going to be January 22nd, 2025. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's January 22nd, 2025, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that, sir? Mr.
Yes, sir.
Otterbridge? Okay. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Excuse me?
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, then that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Go back in 7. You know you can't go by yourself. Go to 7. Where you at? Yeah, go to 7.
I'm an inmate worker, bro. I'm not doing that. I'm going straight there.
Please go to 7.
Next up.
Next up should be Stenson. Are you Mr. Stenson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stenson, you were charged with 1 count of misdemeanor drug-related objects, 1 count of violation of possession of drugs as a felony. The felony drugs is $3,500 bond. The drug-related objects is a misdemeanor $1,000 bond, so your total bond is $4,500. Do you understand that, sir? Now, because you are charged with a felony, sir, if you don't make your bond here of $4,500, your next court date is going to be January 22nd, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's January 22nd, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Number 6.
All right, Mr. Traml, and then Tucker will be finished.
Bring your arms up, bro.
Are you Mr. Traml?
Yes.
Mr. Traml, you are charged with misdemeanor lording and prowling, theft by shoplifting, and obstruction. Those are all misdemeanors. So I need to ask, sir.
I ain't do none of that, so like, can I get
All right, ho, can't get into it.
They
So
check the cameras, they check the serial code, it didn't matter.
Mr. Traml, hold on. So now you have a right to a preliminary hearing, sir, or you can waive your right to that hearing. Would you like me to set the hearing date or waive the hearing date?
Set it.
All right, so your next court date, sir, if you don't make your bond, is going to be January 21st at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that's going to be January 21st at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, as far as the bond amount for these misdemeanors that you've been charged with, starting with that first charge here, sir, the lording or prowling, your bond amount is $1,000. As to the theft by shoplifting, your bond amount is $1,500. And then as to the obstruction, your bond amount is $2,500. So your total bond is $5,000. Do you understand that, sir? You do have a special condition, sir, and that is to stay away from the address of 4140 Terra Boulevard. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I can't get no OR though. I ain't do none of that.
No, sir. You cannot.
All right.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. All right. And then I believe that should leave us Mr. Tucker.
Yep, he coming up.
All right. Are you Mr. Robert Tucker?
Yes, sir. I got to ask a question real quick.
No, sir. No, sir. Let me get done first. Mr. Tucker, you are charged with being in possession of a legal object by an inmate. That is a felony, sir. Your bond, sir, Mr. Tucker, your bond amount is $10,000. Your next court date, sir, should you not make your bond amount, is going to be January 22nd of 2025 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that's January 22nd of 2025 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Based on the information you provided, sir, you will have to hire your own attorney as well on this case. And then I believe you want to talk about the facts of your case. I cannot discuss the facts, Mr. Tucker. You don't want me to discuss the facts because it can hurt you because this is being recorded. Other than telling me about why you don't think it's a felony, is there any other questions you have, Mr. Tucker?
Yes, I do. I've been here 5 months on VOP because they got my address wrong, but it take an officer from the outside to hit me with something that's not mine for me to go to court. But I've been saying 5 months, went on a VOP for a court day for a
Mr. Tucker, how is that relevant to why we're here this
What you
morning?
mean, how is that relevant? I've been locked.
Okay, deputy, you can take Mr. Tucker back. All right, I believe that's everything. Is that everything?
Yes.